Hi there, RC Girl here. Welcome to the third and final episode of my Axial SCX10ii Leaf Spring truck conversion. In my previous two videos, I installed leaf springs, installed the MOJAVE 2 4-door hard body from RC4WD drive. Today we're going to trail test it finally, so you guys get to see how this performs. I'm going to take it out on my backyard crawler course, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to share my initial impressions, how I think it performed, some modifications that I still want to continue to do. Before we take it away out on the trails, if you're new to my channel, here you're going to find RC reviews, tips and tricks, run videos, flight videos, and other things related to RC. So if you guys want to see more, make sure you like and subscribe. All right, let's take it out on the trail. So that was our first run. What do you guys think? I'm going to share my initial impressions of how I think it performed. I'm also, full disclosure, getting used to driving a leaf sprung truck. It's the first one I've ever had. So first, on the scale look. I don't like that you can see inside at all the electronics and like the wires and cables and stuff. I think that kind of catches your eye too much. So I do want to get an interior. And also you can see through the wheel fenders kind of underneath the truck bed through the other side. If you guys know of any solutions to that, let me know. So on our paint, how did it hold up after one run? I'm using the TS lineup paint. This is Field Gray TS78. I did kind of take a tumble down the spiral staircase and landed on the top of the hard body, but actually there's no scratches whatsoever. So that held up really nicely. I was impressed. I did kind of shortcut the paint job. I was planning on spraying a Tamiya TS flat clear over that just to give an added layer of protection. So I would recommend that in the future if you want your paint job to hold up long term. Another thing with the body, it uses 3 screws on each side to hold it to the body mounts. A bunch of people have given me the tip of using grub screws or set screws instead of the button head screws. It allows you to pop the body on and off really quickly without having to remove 6 screws, which are are so time consuming when you're out on the trail and just want to swap out a battery or like hide cables. I could see after I flipped over once, I could see all the cables kind of spill to the windows, and I couldn't really modify those without having to like hike all the way back down and get my screwdriver. 6 set screws. I believe they're M3 by 18 millimeter. You're going to need 6 of them. I have them in the mail as we speak. Cannot wait to get those. It is a pretty long truck as well. So when you're kind of going up some steeper features, the truck bed tends to kind of catch on the ground. And then same thing when you're descending and you're coming off like a log or something, I would find that the bed would kind of catch on some of the features there. It's a long truck, long wheelbase, so I think that's just going to be something I'm going to have to work around. All right, functionality. What do I think of the Leafs? It's definitely going to make for a stiffer truck. You're not going to get that same articulation as you would if you're using the stock Icon shocks, the coilovers, but it does give more of a scale driving style if you really like that. You can't just kind of bomb through a feature. You really have to pick your lines well. You have to set up your angle of attack pretty much for every feature and really think it through. So expect to be challenged with the Leaf Sprung rig, but I found it kind of fun. And as I mentioned, the Leafs will wear in over time. I opted to not use any of the helper springs. The RC4 wheel drive kit comes with 2 helper springs, but as they start to wear in, I might add in a helper spring. So for the dampers, I ended up keeping on the 2 Icon shocks in the front, just the stock ones, but removed the spring because I'm using the Leafs. And then in the rears, I used cantilevered extra speed shocks for the SCX10ii. I go into a lot more detail of the cantilever shock install in my previous video, part 2. I'll link it up here. So if you guys want to see that, check it out. I installed those so I wouldn't have to cut into the truck bed. I did have a screw holding in one of the pivot arms come loose and basically halfway through my run just fall out. It might have been user error. I might not have thread locked it or tightened it all the way. Basically, it left one of the rear cantilevers just kind of flopping around. So you'll probably notice halfway through the video, I just have one cantilever shock functioning. To fix it, I would have had to remove the tire. It was going to be kind of a pain in the butt to fix. Just something to keep in mind if you're competing and you want to do a quick fix out on the trail. Cantilever shocks do have more moving parts, so you're more likely to break something out there. For my tires, I'm running Proline KM3 mud terrains. These are the 1.9 inner diameter, 4.19 outer diameter, so they are going to be a class 1 scale tire. I got them in Predator compound, which is the softest compound they have. They really dug in places where you needed that extra grab. I'm impressed with them so far. So for our wheel poke, it has a really aggressive stance, perhaps too much, and people have also flagged that for a class 1 competition rig, you need to have at least 50% of your tread covered by the fenders. I think mine poke out and probably are disqualified from being a class 1 rig. To tuck them in a little bit more, I'm gonna have to cut down the axles or find like negative offset rims or something. So I think at this point, it's gonna stay how it is. I'm not gonna be competing with this thing, maybe in the future. For my electronics, my motor is super smooth. I'm running a Tekin Rock 412 2300 kV motor. I'm running a Tekin RX4 speed control. One super cool thing about that is you can program an auxiliary drag setting where you set your drag brake to a switch that allows you to, on the fly, adjust your drag brake without having to mess with the speed control at all. I think I lowered the drag brake like halfway through my run. The drag was super helpful though on that steep helical staircase. Really nice to hold my position and be able to kind of back up. I thought it handled really nicely on that. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a ton of fun building up this tiny truck and also really fun taking it out for its first trail run. I also got in new RC Girl stickers in the mail. These are vinyl stickers. You can put them on a water bottle, put them on your pit mat, wherever you want. They're $3. I'll put a link to my Etsy shop where you can get them. It helps support my channel, so thanks to those who've already purchased them. They've already gone to Dubai, Minnesota, Alaska, New York, California, Maine, Virginia, and Ohio. Would love to add you to that list. Check out my Etsy shop. I'll also throw in a little bonus for you. Appreciate all your support. All right, that is it. On to my next project. I did a little poll on my Instagram of what my next video should be, and you guys voted for my RC collection. I think that's gonna be my next one, so stay tuned for that. As always, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you later.